This is Distance from Center. I'm Horton That's,
Trent Finlayson.
and we are back from a long, cold, moderately uneventful winter. And our first show of the year
Un,
is
un,
about rules.
unevent.
Yay,
Whoa, wait.
rules!
Uneventful winter. I live in
Well,
Texas.
I mean, except for
I live in
except for
Texas.
you're in Texas.
Anyway,
How,
yes.
how much snow? How much snow did you have?
We had legitimate 10 inches of fall, drifting to 2 feet, walking across the ski lake,
Wow,
chopping with
wow,
an
that's whack.
with an axe, chopping holes in the lake to fill the toilets and tubs in Texas,
Yeah,
Central
yeah,
Texas, not
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. I know it's pretty
rules.
gnarly. All right.
There's
Okay.
something really,
So
really cool. Something cool popped up this year, and so if you go back to, oh man, you know, mid '90s in Canada, all of a sudden, early '90s in Canada, all of a sudden, perfect pass, and it was like, what do you mean, cruise control? And it was met with both. It was met both ways. Like, it was met with, like let's drive this thing, and I'm not going to say what was driving it because that'll be a whole other annoying topic. But there was, it was met with both. People were resistant, others weren't. Fast forward, to now, and it's like, why wouldn't you have, a lot of people won't even put their ski on if the boat doesn't have cruise control. So anyway, where are we?
So we now have, what is the official term for it? Hang on. The official term for it is BPMS, which stands for Boat Path Monitoring System.
Okay, with the main one
We
being
have
SurePath at the moment.
right,
Yeah.
right. We have SurePath is kind of, at least from a marketing perspective, has a lead, but Ski Path is out there, and I know some people that are using it and speak highly of it.
Yeah.
So
So I
these
have
two
one.
companies right
I have
here.
one. You have one. Let's give just we'll give you a quick. If you haven't heard of it yet, it's and I'm going to use the non-tech because I'm not tech at all. I was able to turn on my computer this morning, but it's basically it's like a GPS monitoring system. It's got its own base station, so it's more accurate than just traditional GPS. But there's a receiver in the boat. There's a screen. It's basically an Android phone, and it charts the driver's path. Centimeter to centimeter to centimeter, and it's measuring variance. Originally it was within a tenth of a centimeter, so you were getting veritable 100% accurate information the moment you leave the exit gates. There's like the Cliff Notes version.
Right. And from my perspective as a driver, I've always told people that I didn't have a very high opinion of my driving, and I'm still not.
I've
I'm
heard.
still not at your level, Trent.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's bad, but but since I've gotten SurePaths, that instant information, you come out of the end of the gates and you look over at the phone, which most of us have like in a phone holder, just sitting there so we can see it as soon as we're out of the course. That instant feedback has shown me the mistakes I make in the course, and has shown me patterns in my driving, and has helped me get way more centered up and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have some concerns about, will the ride feel as good to the skier? But
No,
for me, just trying
yeah.
to
Go
be
ahead. Go
better at
ahead.
my craft, it has definitely improved my craft.
Yeah. No, I didn't. That wasn't really a concern of mine. I mean, I guess there was a concern. Is this going to turn people into video game drivers? But I think I think that if you were struggling, you will struggle less with this. It goes back
Yes.
to that whole thing, like just hitting the center. That doesn't necessarily make you the best driver in the world, but it makes you a heck of a lot better than someone that does not know where center truly is. So so last year we were dabbling with this. I know my region. We used it for the regional championships. That's the South Central, but we used it as a driver's aid, a driver's tool. We used it in all the record tournaments around here. Again, not as a it wasn't in place to affect rerides and such, but it's as a driver, man. I don't want to say it keeps you focused any better, but it relieves a lot of stress. Like when someone puts out it just happened to me last fall. I pulled what would have been a pending national record for someone, and the moment I got out out the gates, I could breathe a sigh of relief instead of waiting a month to have someone plot it through the old system and hoping for the best. So let's fast forward then. So moving into next year, how are these boat path monitoring systems going to be used as per the rules?
Okay, so we recently got the Water Ski Council official note where they approve the new rules, and I understand why it's kind of confusing, but if you read the official versions of it, it's confusing. So I just want to kind of
you understand why it's confusing because it's confusing.
Well, no, but I mean, I
know.
think to write it in a legalistic
Yeah.
sense. So,
But you've deciphered it. So give us the real meat of it.
So at each ball, as the boat approaches each set of boat guides, there's 2 measurement areas. One of them is called zone. And by the way, I think that nomenclature is terrible and confusing. But zone starts 5 meters before the boat guides and extends to 10 meters after the boat guides. Okay. And then there is a region, I just made air quotes. There's a region called buoy. And the buoy region is from the boat guide itself to 5 meters afterwards.
Okay.
And so without belaboring it too much.
And region is more of a narrow scope.
Well, zone is not that huge. It's 5 before and 10 after.
It's 15 meters.
It's 15 meters.
So that's, that's like 50 feet.
It is, but when we first got perfect SurePath, it was measuring 10 before and 10 after, and it was giving you your greatest deviation in there. So without belaboring this too hard, the very short version is ignore anybody has ever told you about zone, because it's very rarely going to come into play as far as will a skier get a rewrite or not. And it only shows up on the driver's information screen if the boat path is off center by more than 20 centimeters, which is about 8 inches, something like that. So if you read the rules and you see zone and buoy and it's all like there's too much to read, if you just focus on buoy, you'll have 95% of it. And then from there, all you really need to know is if the boat is out, if the boat path deviates more than 20 centimeters away from the skier, so you're at one ball and the boat is off to the left by 21 centimeters, you will have a optional reride.
Okay.
And since the boat was against you, it was to your disadvantage, so your original score will be protected.
So then you can assume. So then you can assume if it was 21 centimeters towards you, there's going to be a mandatory reride. Score is not protected. Score doesn't exist.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Two other things. Okay. On your gate, if the boat is out, it is a mandatory reride. It's just the boat's out right or left at the entry gate, not at the exit gate, but it's out 20 centimeters. It's a reride, not protected. You just got to go do it over again.
That one's confusing to me.
And well, hang on. Let me read that.
There's no way that's right.
Hold on. I'm looking at my notes. I know this is exciting video.
Not to throw a monkey wrench in here, but is that
right?
That can't be right.
If gate deviation is more than 20 centimeters right or left of center line, a mandatory reride will be awarded. No protected score.
Wow. I would like to.
That is official.
I need to wrap my brain around that. I cannot understand that one. So, like, let's just say, like, someone's never run their 35 off. The boat driver gives them a terrible gate setup. They're right on the pre-gates. They drift left on the entrance gates, and then from entrance gates on, they're good.
Correct.
Why? I mean, how is that a mandatory reride? That stinks.
I don't know. But 20 centimeters. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so that is the rule, and then well, we'll argue about that, but it's official. It's in the notes. That's official verbiage from Water Ski Council. Mandatory reride. And then last thing is cumulative, and this rule actually trumps all other rules. So if the boat is less than 20 centimeters deviation in every buoy, but exceeds the cumulative, then there is a mandatory reride with the same rules as before. If If the boat path variance is to your advantage, you get a unprotected reride. If it is to your disadvantage, you get a protected reride. There's a table, which is kind of boring actually.
What is the max cumulative? Is that still the same?
Well, it stayed the same. So at 2 ball, there's a max cumulative 28, 3 ball 35 centimeters, 4 ball 40 centimeters, 5 ball 45 centimeters, 6 ball 49 centimeters.
Okay.
So this rule again trumps all other rules. So the boat path can be almost in at every ball, but if you pop the cumulative, it's going to be a reride. And if that cumulative shows that the boat driver was to your disadvantage, you're protected. If it was to your advantage, it is not protected.
Does that gate specific?
You're back to gates.
Does that include the exit gates?
No. I did not see any verbiage about exit gates
So
in the water ski cancel bulletin.
It does specifically say entrance gates.
Entrance gates, absolutely.
That's the only one that's confusing me, and someone could explain it to me in a matter. But I'm just like, well, I mean, to me, if a driver blows your gates, that should always be an optional reride, because there is no way of giving someone an advantage, if not if they hit the right spot at 1 ball. But I mean, I maybe I'm just thinking about this in the there's lots of ways of hurting someone's gates without even going outside that max deviation. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. On its surface, just digesting it as we are speaking now, and I think it has to be a step in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no,
maybe
it's
not
fantastic.
the right direction, but it's a step in a positive direction anyway.
No, I think it's excellent. And, even as I've reached out to some of the people that were involved in writing these rules and developing the hardware software, they're all very upfront that this is the first pass. I mean, they believe in this set of rules, but there's going to be modifications.
Here's an important one,
because
this is going to decide who it affects. What class tournaments is this in effect for?
So the verbiage that I took was for international only, so class L and R.
Okay.
I believe that USA Water Ski has said that Class C tournaments may use the system at their discretion. I think it's like information only. But if I'm a boat judge and in a Class C tournament and I see that the boat path was truly terrible for the skier, I'm going to petition for a rewrite. I'm going to tell the skier they have that opportunity, but it's not mandatory in a Class C.
Yeah, I can go both ways on that. I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting but not in these notes is that the new version of the scoring software is going to sync up with SurePath. So as a boat judge, you don't have to call into scoring ever again and tell them your boat times.
Yeah.
And scoring, so the chief judge could be sitting at scoring or looking at a computer somewhere else and see, oh yeah, those boat paths are bad, and can intervene, as opposed to having to sit and watch the monitor and actually try to judge, from the video where the boat really is.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I mean, we'll know more as these tournaments start popping up. I mean, for a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, for certain sections of the country, this thing was in use last year, so it's not really gonna, it's not really gonna feel a whole lot different, other than, the rules are being, or the tool is being used to enforce the rules that were already basically in place. But so what do you, as a driver, I know you drive some tournaments. How, from your perspective, are you yay, nay? 100%?
I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to sit in a boat without it, because again, it gives me the confidence that I do such a better job with the tool set than I do without the tool set, that I don't, if you came to my house and I didn't have SurePath, I'd try to get somebody else to drive. With the SurePath, I kind of want to drive, and then I want your feedback on how it feels.
What about as a skier? Are you 100% on board?
I am. I just, I'm sensitive to some things in driving, but I don't, if the driver doesn't know where the center of the path is, that's just freaking terrible. So knowing that they know where center is and they've got a better opportunity to be in the middle is great. How they work and dance with me through the course, that's a more advanced driver anyway.
What about as a tournament organizer?
It's just going to be an adjustment. I don't.
It's a,
I'm.
well,
I'm
one, it's an expense, and a hefty one.
let me push back on that. Yes, it is a hefty expense,
Very
but
expensive.
almost everybody who's serious about driving
Yeah.
is going to have it in their boats anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if I take my boat to a tournament, especially here in Bakersfield, I have the base station on the roof of my house, and I'll take my system and leave it in my boat and take it to a tournament. I'm happy to supply it to the tournament.
Yeah, no, we've done
And
similar here. I mean, I own one. I love it. What about, and I'm sure it's written into the rules, what about when the system goes down mid-pass? And if you tell me it's a mandatory rewrite, then we've got problems.
No. If during a tournament the required system fails, end course video monitored by judges may be used until
The system's back
GPS
up
is
and running.
fixed.
Perfect.
Right,
That
right.
would,
So
that'd be my only one. The only one is an additional cost incurred, which we do not need. But again, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the system as a skier and as a driver. And I guess I always worry that we're just teching and ruling ourselves into the ground.
Yes, yes, but imagine, yes, but imagine the day when instead of using end course video, which is still required as backup, I believe, for LNR until we get through the transition. But imagine a day when your tech stuff for boat path is something you use in practice every day. It's just there instead of setting up a camera and making sure that it's recording correctly and all that crap just goes away. Yeah. It's actually less homologation effort, I think.
I like it. We'll know. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, as the season kind of rolls along, we'll know quickly. And again, sites that are already set up for it. Like here we have River Ranch, Aquaplex, in Central Texas. Cypress over in Houston. They're already set up for it. They use them every single day. So it's not a big deal. Just there'll be some growing pains though. Trying to get them set up and certain areas in the country, believe it or not, still have terrible cell service.
You say that, but so you and I are both currently using SurePath, but if you use the Canadian product, SkiPath, it does not use cell service. It uses radio signal, which is a whole nother level of setup. But it does solve. You go to Cedar Ridge, one of the most famous sites in the world. There is no internet. I get it. There's no cell service. So but with SkiPath would work awesome.
Man, I couldn't argue with you today if I tried. Okay, you've got all the answers.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're over time as always. Thank you, Trent. I know we've got more to talk about in future shows.
Yeah. No, exciting revelation, and it's going to just immediately answer a lot of questions that have been popping up, in regards to tournaments in the last couple of years. So awesome. Glad to be back. We'll see you guys shortly.